The first thing they took from me was my phone. The second thing was my name. I don't remember how long I walked before I collapsed on the side of the road. Maybe weeks. Running from the man my mother had sold me to. From the house with locked doors. From the screams at night that weren't always mine. When the van stopped beside me, I tried to run. But the man who stepped out didn't grab me. He knelt in front of me. Wrapped a blanket around my shaking shoulders. "You're safe now," he said softly. His voice was warm. Kind. "My name is Gabriel." I cried into his chest like I had known him my whole life. They took me to a place hidden in the mountains. White buildings. Gardens. Quiet. People smiling. People praying. They called it the sanctuary. "No one will hurt you here," Gabriel whispered as he carried me inside. And for the first time in years, no one did. They gave me a new room. Clean sheets. Warm food. Medicine for the bruises I pretended not to have. Women came every morning to brush my hair and tell me I was beautiful. That I was chosen. That I was lucky Gabriel had found me. "He saves broken girls," they whispered. "He heals them." I saw him every day. Always in white. Always surrounded by light. People knelt when he passed. He never touched me. Never spoke to me alone. Only smiled from across the garden. Like I was something sacred. One evening during prayer he finally sat beside me. "You don't have to remember your old life," he said gently. "Pain lives in memories." My throat tightened. What if I want to remember? He looked at me with sad eyes. "Then you will suffer longer than you need to." Silence fell between us. "Do you know why I brought you here?" he whispered. I shook my head. "Because," he said softly, "I saw you in a dream." 3 nights later I woke up screaming. Hands were holding me. A female. The women from the sanctuary. "It's okay," they whispered. "The night is trying to take you back." They led me through dark halls to the prayer room. Candles everywhere. And Gabriel, waiting, shirt open, bare feet, like he had never slept. He sat on the floor and pulled me gently into his lap. No one had ever held me like that without hurting me. "You're safe," he whispered against my hair. "I won't let the past touch you again." I started crying. "I'm broken." "No," he said calmly. "You're being reborn." His hand brushed my back slowly, over and over, rocking me. When my breathing finally slowed, he whispered something that made my heart stop. "You don't belong to the world anymore." My lips trembled. "Then who do I belong to?" Silence. Then his mouth touched my forehead. Possessive. And he answered. "To me." The rules came the next morning. Not written. Not announced. They were whispered. Mild. Sung like prayers. A woman named Miriam woke me before sunrise and dressed me in white. "No colors," she said softly. "Colors remind us of the old world." She brushed my hair until it shone. Then she took a small pair of scissors and cut the bracelet from my wrist. The last thing I owned from before. "What are you doing?" I whispered. "You don't need memories here," she smiled. At breakfast, everyone ate the same food. In silence. No mirrors. No phones. No clocks. No names. When I tried to say mine, a woman pressed her finger to my lips. "You're not that girl anymore," she whispered. "You're one of the chosen now." Fear twisted in my chest. "Can I at least write it down?" Yes. Miriam looked horrified. "Writing keeps the soul tied to pain." That afternoon, Gabriel finally spoke to me alone. Not in a room. In the garden. Where everyone could see. He never touched me. Never sat too close. "You're learning quickly," he said kindly. "I'm trying to understand where I am," I whispered. He smiled. "You're where broken things become whole." Then softly. "And where lost girls become mine." The first ceremony happened that night. They dressed me in a long white dress and led me into the great hall. Candles covered every wall. People knelt on the floor, humming softly. The center. Gabriel stood barefoot on a low platform. When he raised his hands, the room fell silent. Tonight, he said gently, we welcome a soul who escaped the night. Every eye turned to me. My heart began to race. She came to us empty, he continued. And we will fill her with light. Hands guided me forward. I stood in front of him shaking. He looked at me like I was the only thing in the world. Do you trust me? He whispered. He nodded. 'Cause somehow, I did. He touched my forehead with 2 fingers. You are reborn, he said quietly. Your past name is dead. The room repeated it like a prayer. He leaned close. So is your past life. When he kissed my hair, the room gasped, and I felt something dangerous bloom inside my chest. Pride. The jealousy started with a boy. One of the younger men smiled at me during chores. Just a small smile. Nothing more. That night, I didn't see him at dinner. The next morning, his bed was empty. When I asked Miriam where he went, she crossed herself. The night called him back. Fear crawled through my skin. Later that day, I saw Gabriel in the courtyard speaking to 2 men. The boy was between them, kneeling, crying. Gabriel touched his head gently and whispered something I couldn't hear. The men dragged the boy away. Ran. Found Gabriel alone in the prayer room. What did you do to him? Cried. He looked at me sadly. He was thinking impure thoughts about you. My stomach twisted. He just smiled. That's how sin begins, Gabriel said softly. Then he stepped closer. But you, he whispered, are too precious to be shared with temptation. His hand lifted my chin. And for the first time, his thumb brushed my lips. My breath caught. You're shaking, he murmured. Are you afraid of me? Yes, I whispered. His smile was gentle. Good. That night I remembered my real name. For the first time since I arrived. Came to me in a dream. My mother calling it. My voice answering. I woke up crying. I whispered it into my pillow like a secret. The door opened quietly. Gabriel stood there. In the dark. I heard you speaking, he said softly. Fear froze me. What did you say? He asked. Nothing. He sat on the edge of my bed. Too close. You're not supposed to remember, he whispered. My heart slammed. Remember what? Who you were. Tears slid down my face. I just had a nightmare. He touched my cheek gently. You're not allowed to dream about the old world, he murmured. Dreams bring demons back. Silence burned between us. Do you know what happens to girls who try to leave? He whispered. I shook my head. They go back to the men who hurt them. His thumb traced my jaw slowly. And they beg me to take them again. My breath shattered. You won't leave, he said softly. Not a question. Promise. Then he leaned down and kissed me. Not gentle. Not innocent. Low. Claiming. When he pulled away, his voice was dark and calm. You belong to the sanctuary now. And to me. The truth began with the girls who came back. They arrived at night. Always at night. New vans. New faces. Girls with empty eyes and bruises hidden under white dresses. They never cried. Never spoke. They walked like ghosts. One of them sat beside me during morning prayer. Her hands were shaking so badly she spilled her tea. Are you okay? I whispered. She flinched violently. Then leaned closer. They sell us, she breathed. My heart stopped. Who? The sanctuary, she whispered. Gabriel. Fear exploded inside my chest. Before I could ask more, Miriam appeared. Her hand closed around the girl's wrist. You're not ready to speak yet, she smiled. And dragged her away. I never saw her again. That afternoon, curiosity became hunger. I followed Gabriel silently through the back halls when he thought I was asleep. Downstairs I had never seen. Through doors always locked. Until I reached a small office. Inside, a desk, ledger, and a long list of names. Girls' names. With numbers beside them. Ages. Prices. My hands started shaking. The bottom. My new name. Circled in red. With one word written beside it. Ozen. That night they came for me. Not rough, gentle, smiling. They bathed me, perfumed my skin, dressed me in silk instead of white. Tonight is your blessing, Miriam whispered. Fear twisted my stomach. They led me to Gabriel's room. Large, dark, candles everywhere. He stood by the window, shirt unbuttoned, barefoot, waiting. When the door closed behind me, my knees almost gave out. You're beautiful, he said softly. I'm scared. Yes, he replied calmly. That means your soul is opening. He guided me to the bed and made me sit. Knelt in front of me. Took my hands. Tonight, he whispered, you become more than one of the chosen. My throat tightened. You become mine. Tears slid down my face. I don't understand. You will, he murmured. He kissed my palms, my wrist, my arms, low, careful, like a ritual. I've waited years for you, he whispered. My heart slammed. Years. I saw you when you were 16, he continued softly. Your mother brought you to one of our gatherings. My breath shattered. You planned this. Yes. And the men who hurt me before. He smiled sadly. I sent them. The world broke. You let them hurt me. No, he corrected gently. I chose them. My scream died in my throat. So you could save me, he whispered. So you would belong to me. I don't remember everything that happened that night. Only fragments, candles shaking, my body not quite mine. His voice in my ear telling me I was holy. That pain was love. That fear was proof. That I was chosen because I was pure enough to break. When I woke in the morning, I was in his bed, his arm around my waist. Marks on my skin I didn't remember asking for. Outside bells rang. Celebration. Miriam entered smiling. The union is complete, she whispered. My stomach turned. Later that day I saw the basement. By accident. Door left open. Stairs leading down. In cages. Rows of them. Girls inside. Drugged. Silent. Waiting. A sign on the wall read. Preparation wing. Ran. Straight into Gabriel. He didn't look surprised. You weren't supposed to see that yet, he said gently. Tears streamed down my face. You're selling us. Yes, he said calmly. To men who worship darkness. My voice broke. And me. He smiled slowly. No, you're not for sale. Relief and horror collided inside me. Then what am I? He stepped close and touched my stomach possessively. You're my queen. The numbers came first. Not screams. Not blood. Numbers. I found them hidden behind the altar in the great hall. Ledgers stacked like prayer books. Cities. Men's names. Girls' names crossed out in red. Hundreds of them. Sold. My hand shook so badly I dropped one. Gabriel appeared behind me without a sound. You weren't supposed to read those yet, he said gently. How many? I whispered. He was silent. How many girls did you sell? 312, he said calmly. My knees gave out. You're a monster. Yes, he agreed softly. And you're the only thing I ever wanted to keep. Tears streamed down my face. Why me? Because, he whispered. You were the only one who survived what I sent you into. The policeman came 2 days later. Disguised as a pilgrim. Quiet. Young. Too clean for this place. He slipped a note into my sleeve during prayer. We know what this place is. We can get you out. Tonight. My heart almost stopped. That night he found me in the garden. My name is Daniel, he whispered. We're raiding the sanctuary at dawn. Fear crushed my lungs. And the girls in the basement. We'll take them all. Hope exploded inside my chest. And Gabriel. He'll hang. My stomach twisted. That word burned. Come with us, he whispered urgently. Before he destroys you too. He nodded, shaking. Finally, freedom. I went to Gabriel's room to pack. But he was already there. Sitting on the bed. Holding the note. You're very bad at hiding things, he said gently. My blood froze. You were going to leave me, he whispered. Tears poured down my face. You're killing people. Yes. And selling girls. Yes. And I'm pregnant, I sobbed. Silence shattered. His eyes widened. What? I went to the doctor. Miriam hides, I whispered. I'm carrying your child. The room went completely still. Then slowly, he smiled. The most terrifying smile I had ever seen. They can't take you now, he whispered. Why? Because, he said softly. Queens do not go to prison. Gunshots exploded outside. Screams, sirens, kiss. The raid had begun. He dragged me through secret halls and tunnels I had never seen. Girls screaming. Men running. Fire everywhere. You're not leaving, he said calmly, pulling me close. Everyone will die tonight. We reached a hidden chapel under the mountain. A helicopter waited inside. Daniel appeared at the entrance, gun raised. Step away from her, he shouted. Gabriel placed his hand on my stomach. She's carrying my heir, he said softly. Daniel looked at me desperately. Please, he whispered. You don't belong to him. Tears streamed down my face. I looked at Gabriel. At the man who destroyed hundreds of lives. At the child inside me. At the world waiting to take him away. Let me go, I whispered. No, Gabriel said gently. I built heaven for you. Gunshots rang. Daniel fell. Blood everywhere. Silence. Gabriel pulled me into the helicopter. As the sanctuary burned behind us, he kissed my forehead and whispered, they tried to steal my family. And now, we will build our own kingdom. We disappeared before sunrise. The helicopter carried us over burning forests and broken roads until the sanctuary was only smoke behind us. Gabriel never let go of my hand. Even when I cried. Even when I shook so badly I thought I would lose the baby. You're safe now, he whispered again and again. I wanted to believe him. We crossed 3 borders in 2 days. Fake names, private doctors, a mansion hidden above the sea. And silence. For weeks the world talked about the raid. News anchors called it the largest cult trafficking operation in history. Hundreds of girls rescued. Mass graves found in the mountains. And one name repeated everywhere. Gabriel Vale, wanted, presumed dead. I watched his face on the screen while he stood behind me, brushing my hair. They think you're dead, I whispered. Yes, he smiled. That's the greatest miracle I ever performed. The baby came in the middle of a storm. Thunder shaking the windows. Rain cutting the sky open. Gabriel held my hand while I screamed his name and begged him not to let me die. When the child finally cried, he fell to his knees. Boy. Perfect. Dark eyes. Gabriel took him like something holy. My son, he whispered, tears in his eyes. My king. Fear twisted inside me. That night, while they slept, I took the phone Daniel had hidden in my bag. The last one. Still working. Still connected. My hands shook as I typed a single message to the number he had written in my sleeve. He's alive. I'm with him. Find us. Then I deleted everything. And went back to bed beside my monster. Months passed. The world thought the cult was gone. They were wrong. People began coming to us. Quietly. Carefully. Women who had nowhere to go. Men who had lost faith. Broken souls. Gabriel welcomed them all. Not as a prophet. As a healer. Savior. And slowly, a new sanctuary was born. Cleaner. Martyr. Hidden inside luxury. No cages. No chains. Only devotion. Me. Sitting beside him. Smiling. Teaching the girls how to obey without realizing they were obeying. Teaching them how love feels like safety. How fear feels like faith. One night, as Gabriel slept, my phone vibrated. Message. Unknown number. We know where you are. Testify and we can save your child. My heart stopped. I stared at my son sleeping between us. At Gabriel's arm wrapped around both of us. At the life I had helped build. Morning came. Gabriel kissed my forehead. You're quiet, he whispered. I had a dream, I said softly. About leaving. His eyes darkened. And I woke up, I replied. He smiled. The rest never came. Because I never answered. Because I burned the phone. Because when the police finally found the new sanctuary, years later, it was already too big, too powerful, too protected. They arrested some followers, some leaders, but never the king or the queen. People began whispering a new name. Not Gabriel, not the sanctuary. They called it the children of light. And they called me the mother. One night, standing on the balcony above our empire, I asked him quietly, if I had testified, would you have let them take you? Yes, he said instantly. And the baby? I would have burned the world to get him back. Tears filled my eyes. And if they come again? He took my face in his hands. Then you will decide, he whispered. Queen or traitor? I smiled slowly, looked at the city kneeling beneath us, at the thousands who believed in us, at the child sleeping in the room behind us, and I answered the only truth left in my soul. They will never take my family. Years later, when people speak about the rise of the new faith, they never mention the girl who was sold, the girl who was saved, the girl who could have destroyed everything. They only speak about the woman who stood beside the dark prophet, the woman who chose the cage, who chose the monster, who chose the throne. And when I look at my son now, dressed in white, already learning how to make people kneel, I don't see a mistake. I see the future I locked into place with my own hands. Because in the end, I was never his prisoner. I was his miracle. And his queen. Forever.